Now, I don't know if you guys saw this one, but this one popped up on my Yahoo News feed by way of Fox News, and it said that this Arizona border rancher, he fears that the cartels are intentionally overwhelming border patrol as a diversionary tactic. Makes sense. And with your permission, I want to share with you all of this quick summary that I got from a gentleman by the name of Jim Chilton. And they said he's a fifth generation rancher in Arizona and expresses concerns about cartels using migrants to divert border patrol agents, creating opportunities to smuggle terrorists and drugs into the U.S. And the recent closure of the Lukeville, Arizona port of entry on December 4 due to the rise and surge in illegal migrant crossings only exemplifies this issue. Fox News reported over 12,000 migrants are crossing the border on December 4, a record high, with most apprehensions occurring between ports of entry. And Rancher Chilton believes that the cartels are strategically shifting migrant crossing locations to manipulate Border Patrol deployment, enabling the smuggling of dangerous people and narcotics into this country. The Tucson sector, including Lukeville, saw a significant increase in migrant apprehensions, reaching almost 19,000 in the first week of December of this year, 2023. The data from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, revealed 169 people on the FBI terror watch list were encountered at the southern border in fiscal year 2023, surpassing the total of the previous 6 years combined. The Arizona rancher is particularly alarmed by the potential for terrorist infiltration, citing past terrorist attacks as examples of the devastation that a few bad people can cause. Drug smuggling remains a critical issue, with nearly 27,000 pounds of fentanyl seized along the southern border in fiscal year 2023, which was an increase of 89% from last year. Chilton criticizes the cartels for profiting from drug trafficking and exploiting migrants to overwhelm Border Patrol resources. I believe there's some exploitation going on here. I believe there's a lot of something's going on here. And unfortunately, it's wildly out of control, and I don't think it can ever be under control. And at the end of the day, it just seems like they're holding us hostage and holding this entire country hostage with some of the things that they let happen and the lies that they continue to tell us and expect us to believe or hope we will continue trusting them that they're trying to improve security at the border. But speaking of hostage situation, I read on CNET today about how people are all maxed out, and it was going deep inside America's credit card debt crisis and where we go from here. And they said that credit card debt shatters lives. And I'm pretty sure a lot of folks at least know somebody that has gotten buried in credit card debt, or is buried in credit card debt, or perhaps maybe is you, which, we're not here to point blame or anything like that. But if we understand the problem, we identify the problem, then we can begin to fix the problem. And it said, CNET shared that we must take a hard look at both financial systems and our own behaviors to find a way forward. And if that includes you or anybody you know, and you would like someone to talk to, then feel free, reach out. You can contact me. Links below in the description. So as I was reading this article, it started off by telling a story about an 18-year-old who, upon turning 18, he immediately applied for a credit card. And what he wanted to do was to start building his credit so he could one day be able to finance the purchase of a car or a home. And he said, I was told it was the only way I could start my credit. So his credit card limit was low at just $500, with a requirement to keep $250 in a savings account to use it. So essentially, it was a secured credit card. But over the next decade, as more credit card offers rolled in, both his credit limits and his balances continued to ratchet up out of control. Pretty soon, his credit card debt ballooned to over $25,000, and he eventually sought out a debt relief company for help. He is now 33 years old and lives in San Francisco, and it took him nearly 4 years to get his credit card debt down to zero, but only after he said, "I had 5 credit cards at the time. Now I only have 2, and the rest were shut down in the relief process." And ultimately, the moral of the story is that I'm afraid that many of us are headed in the opposite direction right now. So, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in August for the second quarter of 2023, there was one extremely alarming statistic, and that was that Americans had surpassed a combined total of over $1 trillion in credit card debt. 3 months later, the balance had already gone up an additional $48 billion. And what's more alarming is that the cost of carrying this debt has also increased, and credit card APRs have gone up 30% in the last year and a half, eating away at consumers' budgets more than ever before. Credit card debt, while only one form of debt among many others like mortgage debt and student loan debt, holds a unique influence due to its accessibility, marketing, and the impact on credit scores. The ease of using credit cards, especially with modern technologies like digital wallets and e-commerce, often leads to a disconnect between purchasing and the act of paying or repaying. Credit cards can provide a crucial financial lifeline, but also carry the potential for destructive financial consequences. As inflation outpaces wage growth, more people are relying on credit cards for daily necessities, leading to increased debt. Financial planners like Nikki McDonald point out the discomfort and taboo surrounding credit card debt discussions, which contributes to a lack of understanding and resolution. Understandably. Now, the article also explored personal stories like for one young lady named Carmen, who said she used credit card spending to navigate grief and life changes, ultimately leading to increased debt, and where this 40-year-old public relations professional based out of New Jersey confessed to her spending as a way to navigate her grief. She said, "My mom died April 28, 2019, and my dad died on August 22nd, 2020. And at that point, I was like, oh my God, I'm completely alone in this world." And that's obviously a major impact on people's lives. Now, she said that she invested in therapy to support her mental health, and that was a good move, and traveled to 4 new countries as well. And she justified it by saying she would always find deals and didn't think that she was spending that much money. And at the start of 2023, she took out a $13,000 debt consolidation loan to try and regain control over her credit card balances. But instead of her total debt burden going down, it's continued to go up. And she said that, "I've had a lot of heartbreak," and that she broke off an engagement in the spring, and then she booked a trip to go to Greece. She was trying to get away from it all, blowing the budget. But now looking back and upon reflection, she realizes how previous experiences had shaped some of her bad money behaviors. She said that, "I've had unhealthy relationships in the past. One boyfriend I had early on in my life told me my teeth are crooked, so I got braces again. And then a different boyfriend told me my clothes were drab. Now I have 2.5 closets worth of clothes." Yeah, it can get out of hand, folks. Now, she says that her current goal is to have half her loan debt paid down, 50% over the next 6 months. And also, there was in this article that I was reading, there was a woman named Tracy Williams, and she's a board certified psychologist, and certified financial therapist. And she says that people that you care about can leave a long lasting impression on you for better or for worse. And how you spend money may be directly tied to the experiences that you had in your relationships. And adding how the pain of your experience lingers if it isn't addressed. And spending money is one way you might try to soothe that pain. And when we're stressed out or sad, we want something that'll make us feel better. And we've come up with a pet name for it. And this pet name is known as retail therapy. And there are two psychological feedback loops at work in retail therapy, and both of them are easy to reinforce. And the first is that the mere anticipation of using a credit card for a purchase activates the reward network in our brain, according to a 2021 study published in Scientific Reports. Researchers did brain scans of subjects as they considered buying Xbox controllers, and what they found was a strong step on the gas correlation, as the opportunity to pay with a credit card was exciting and anticipatory for the brain, which ultimately led to the releasing of dopamine. Psychologist Tracy Williams explains how emotional experiences can influence spending habits, often as a form of coping. And this retail therapy, which is ultimately powered by the anticipation of using a credit card and targeting advertising, creates psychological feedback loops that encourage spending. And the credit card issuers know this, so they use sophisticated marketing techniques to target potential customers, further perpetuating these cycles. And with so many Americans living paycheck to paycheck right now, credit cards have ended up becoming the de facto emergency funds, leading to higher debt as APRs increase, and the complexity of credit card math, including the impact of maintaining a balance and the lure of minimum payments, exacerbates the problem. Credit cards are profitable for the lenders, with interest forming a significant part of its profitability. The whole buy now, pay later services have only made the problem even worse. And they are emerging now more, becoming more available, and encouraging consumers to make larger purchases that ultimately they really can't, shouldn't, and are unable to repay. But it's all part of the retail therapy. Opting out of using credit cards isn't straightforward either. They make that difficult, as credit scores are heavily influenced by credit card usage and are crucial for financial identity and access to future financing. Like trying to cancel a credit card could potentially knock out a huge percentage of your available credit, and also your longest or some of your longer credit line histories, which can have an impact on your credit score in a negative way. You go try to apply for a mortgage, and you can go and try to apply for a mortgage, and you can have $30,000 worth of available credit on a credit card. And then you've had this credit card for 10 years, 15 years, however long you had it. And all of a sudden you cancel the account, and then you go try and apply for a mortgage, and they'll go, well, you don't have any available credit and you don't have any credit history because that account's closed. And, you can go to the underwriter and say, well, I was trying to be more responsible, so I just got rid of my credit cards. And they go, well, that's actually going to hurt you, and we're not going to be able to approve you or pre-approve you for this mortgage. So it's really complex. It's really complicated. It's a double-edged sword. And the credit scoring system has somewhat evolved over time, and these historical prejudices impacting current day inequities still exist. However, navigating the credit card crunch does involve revisiting personal finance fundamentals and examining thought patterns around money, and possibly exploring options like debt consolidation or additional income streams, as long as you don't then backtrack and revert into more debt. But understanding the psychology behind spending and the influence of advertising can help in cultivating a more secure financial future. Personal finance strategies depend on individual circumstances, emphasizing that personal finance is indeed personal. And this is not necessarily something that we have to, or I'm even asking to discuss here in the public, in the comment section. But again, if you do want someone to talk to, feel free, reach out. But I will try and reinforce an opinion that I have, and a discussion that we were having the other day on another video. And that is that if I were looking at it from the perspective of I have way too much credit card debt and I need to consolidate my debt, I need to control my spending, I need to improve my relationship with money and my behavior, then the last thing I would be concerned with is ways of improving my credit score and boosting my credit score. Because ultimately, if you can solve these psychological, if you can address these psychological challenges, it'll improve your credit score, plain and simple. Like if you don't have debt, if you know how to manage your money, if you spend wisely, if you are more financially responsible, your credit score is going to go up, plain and simple. There's really no trick there. But I wouldn't be so much worried about my credit score going up. I would be more concerned about knocking out my debt and freeing myself of that burden and reprogramming my mind, my brain, myself to not fall back into that trap again. And this is going to be really important. It always has been, but it's going to be, I feel strongly that it's going to be extremely important in 2024 and moving forward, which is why I'm sharing with you guys the link down below in the description of not just quantum security and the inherent risks that are coming, that are already in the works with protecting our personal data and our personal finances, our money, our savings, our investment, our retirement, but financial prudency, financial literacy, and understanding how to be better financially so that we don't end up in that hostage situation, locked down and tied up and bound by maxed out credit cards and unbelievable minimum payments and crazy high interest rates on top of everything else that's going on right now. Just wanted to share that with you. Appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for watching. If you're still here and you enjoy this, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And again, my info is below if you want to talk.